I used to live in a haunted apartment for 2 years, and some things I just really cannot explain. My parents have been trying to sell this apartment for as long as I can remember, at least 10 years, and none of the deals have fell through. We even had like spiritual masters to try to clear the house of all the spirits so we can sell it, but all five of them was like,
Your house, this apartment is too crowded and we can't do it.
I remember one of them took a look from the main door and he was like, I'm not going in. I'm not gonna do this. Take your money back because I'm not doing this. So yes, this house is so scary. So let me give you a little bit of a background. My dad bought this house around 1990s. He bought it for his first wife and their kids. This apartment is serene, it's airy, it's the perfect quiet living in the city. But do you know what's so crazy about this house? Is that during the day, it feels so peaceful. It feels like the place you want to be in the city. However, at night, it feels like you might not just be the only one living there. A few years after my dad bought this house, he decided, you know what, let's send our kids abroad to further their studies. So that's what he did. I believe that after that, there was only his first wife and two other kids living there. One day, something unfortunate happened to his first wife. She later on passed in the hospital. After this incident, he was like, I'm going to send all my kids abroad, and if I were in the country, I would just live here. Growing up, I stay with my grandmother from my mom's side of the family. When my parents come back from their business trips, they would bring me to their own apartment. I remember being 8 or 9 years old. My dad came, picked me up, and we went to his apartment. As a kid, when you are in a new space, you might want to wander around, check out what's up, but I didn't. I knew that
This apartment feels weird.
I remember very clearly that I would look into his room and feel very overwhelmed. You know what it felt like? It felt like someone was in a corner somewhere and you don't know when that person is gonna pop out. I was kind of anticipating it, but all this felt like it's too complicated for a child to explain to an adult, so I didn't say anything to him. Fast forward to 2017 when my parents decided that we were going to move into my dad's apartment. The only person who was concerned when this decision was made was my mom. You might be wondering, why would you be concerned when you never lived there? She lived there for one night, and that was enough for her to feel concerned. The first night that she spent in that apartment, she woke up in the middle of the night to their bed shaking. This has never happened to her. She was so shocked, she didn't know what to do, so she shook my dad awake. He woke up and he asked her, "What's wrong?" And she tried to tell him what happened. My dad is not the type to believe in anything spiritual, so he just brushed it off. Because of that, my mom would have never ever moved into that house if we didn't need to. We had to because of financial problems. The first few months of us living in that apartment, strange things would happen. Things being moved around. I would wake up to people talking in the living room, but I never felt scared. I've always been sensitive to spirits. I believe that just because that they're there doesn't mean that they're trying to harm you or do anything to you. All my life, I've only had 2 instances where I actually felt scared when I encountered a spirit. And one of those 2 instances happened in this apartment. I remember coming home from school. My routine was to always take a nap, do homework, wake up, wait for my parents to come back. They will always be back very late. I was always the only one at home, and I had that routine for a reason. The reason being that that apartment cannot be dark after 10 p.m. It was around 6 p.m. when I got home from school. I had an assignment due the next day, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to skip the nap and get to work. I was on my bed, on my laptop, working on my assignment. Halfway through, I fell asleep and I woke up at 11 p.m. The only light in my room was coming out of my laptop, and everything outside of my room was pitch black. I just turned on the lights in my room and I told myself, 10 minutes and I'm gonna go out there and turn on the lights. 10 minutes. Then it turned into 30 minutes. Then I started to hear someone sobbing. It sounded like a lady and it caught me off guard. So I just sat there frozen, trying to hear, am I really hearing this? I would hear her cry, gets louder and then softer. Then it gets louder again, then it gets softer. You know why it gets louder and softer? It was because she was right outside my room, circling our living room. I did not hear her steps or anything, but you know how you can tell if someone is standing up and talking to you or if they're sitting down and talking to you? I was on my bed at that point in time, and I realized that her cry came from below. It was as if she was crawling and crying around our living room. My bedroom door was not closed, so I looked, and every time her cry got louder, I would see a piece of black cloth on the floor and moving past my bedroom door. I was certainly not about to investigate. I picked up my phone and I told my mom,
Please come home as soon as possible.
After I hung up, I told myself,
do not fear. Do not give in.
then I ran out. I did not look back. I turned on all the lights and I didn't see anyone. There was no one in the living room. There was no marks or anything. I turned on the TV. I lit incense. The house was so loud at 12 a.m. in the morning. You would have thought that there was a party going on. My parents got home 30 minutes later. They did not say anything about the party that was going on with...
Only me being the participant.
I told them what happened the next morning and we moved out 2 months later. It's safe to say that that lady did not show herself again after that day. I still don't know if that lady is there. My dad is the only resident in that apartment now, and he always say that nothing happens to him in that apartment, and he thinks that we are all, every single one of us, including the spiritual masters, are the Lulu. And maybe we are really the Lulu, and maybe this apartment will never ever sell, and it will be
Precious family heirloom.
There are a lot of speculations as to why these things are happening. And for example, when my dad used to travel for work, he would be away for months and that house would be empty for that long. In Buddhism, we believe that when humans are not in a space for too long, spirits would dwell there. And when there's one spirit, it would attract other spirits. So this is one of the speculations. But honestly, we can go on and on. If you're interested, we can talk more about this in the next video. Let me know what you think. Do you believe in spirits? Have you encountered a spirit? Who do you think that lady was? Cause lady, you scared the shit out of me. And I'll catch you in the next one. Subscribe.